Hey, what's up? Dave with Brazos Barbell. Today's topic is one that I'm sure will be a little controversial, and I don't know that I even have a solid opinion on this, but I did want to share some of my thoughts and hopefully promote a discussion. I think recently there's been a strong movement towards being very critical of lifts, and specifically deadlifts, done on non-competition equipment. In general, I agree with the premise. If you're unaware, the argument centers around the fact that different bars have different degrees of flex in them, making it easier to get in a good position and get the bar moving. This is compounded when done on standard gym training plates and is even worse on bumpers, as opposed to the very thin competition discs used in powerlifting meets. I won't be arguing that at all, and I think anyone who disagrees is either very inexperienced or somehow just ignoring obvious details. What I will be making a case for is that those details can potentially be a useful training tool if done at the right time and also accounted for. So the first thing we're looking at today is me benching on the fat pad bench. The bench is a little wider, it's stickier, it has a little more give than the standard competition pad. Originally I got this pad because I had an injured shoulder, and this allowed me to bench pain-free when I was really struggling on a standard bench. I was able to return to normal training much earlier than if I would have otherwise, and was able to do a large amount of work that I would not have been able to handle. I felt like I actually made progress on my bench during this time, rather than treading water or potentially moving backwards. I don't feel like the bench on its own makes you stronger, but it does allow you to set up better, stay set. It really reduces wear and tear on joints that are sometimes beat up through training with higher volumes. My personal experience with this, though, is that because the little bit more give in the bench, it can also be a little easier to get the bar moving with it than with a standard bench, especially if you sink the bar like I do. So the question then becomes, is this a good training tool, even though I know I'm stronger on this bench? My opinion is yes. The day being shown is actually my second bench day of the week, and generally my weakest bench day. I do volume squats and heavier bench on Monday, so Tuesday usually suffers. I'm also usually sore and tired, so training on the fat pad can allow me to keep my volume high and manage how I'm feeling while I'm still getting in good workload. From anecdotal experience, I actually had my best bench performance in a meet coming off a block that I trained exclusively on the fat pad because of my injury, and then I did a short cycle on the competition bench and still hit my best bench at that meet. Other people I've coached in my gym also feel like it helps kickstart bench progress, and while there may be a short period of adjustment when switching back to the competition pad, people are almost always stronger than they were before. I'm using the fat pad as an example because I think it's easy for people to see that it might be a useful tool, and it is different enough from regular competition bench that people understand that there could be a difference and don't get too caught up in fat pad numbers, but use it as a variation to help them train. I also think that people hearing the idea from further away without trying it are generally going to be a little bit more pragmatic and willing to at least see that there could be some training value. I started the video talking about deadlifts and plate or bar variation, and this is where we can use the fat pad example to maybe benefit our deadlift. Slightly more flex in the bar, a little bit more forgiveness off the floor, and potentially improved position can be a powerful training stimulus as long as we understand that there are going to be some differences when we use the full competition equipment. My personal experience is that I absolutely made the best progress on my deadlift while only using pound plates because that's all I had access to. 2 years ago, I broke the American deadlift record at the Arnold, having only pulled on kilogram plates in meets to that point. That year I pulled 350 kilos or 771 pounds, while a year prior at the same meet was my first 700-pound deadlift. Since then, I've begun only pulling on competition plates in training, and my deadlift at a meet has only improved 5 kilos. I do feel that I'm much stronger now than I was at that time, and have shifted my focus to improve on the other lifts more. I squat 60 to 70 pounds more than I did, and I bench 20 to 30 pounds more. There could be other factors at play that led me to making more progress on my squat in that time, but it's hard to ignore the 10% progress in a year, followed by about only 1% in the next 2. The positives to me would be similar to those of the fat pad. Potential ability for more training volume, better positions in general because of slight increase in flex in the bar, and increased confidence. The caveat would be that you have to already train with a style that would not be largely affected by a stiffer bar. People who pull very aggressively and try to yank the bar off the floor probably will be hurt more by this than people who use better technique. The pros to the competition plates and bar would obviously be that you know exactly what you're in for, you use a technique that will hold up against any changes, and then the increase in confidence knowing that your training numbers are not inflated. At the end of the day, I don't know that I have a firm opinion on this, and I'm interested in some thought from other people. My closing thoughts though would be that you don't want many deviations from the competition equipment. The combination of a flexible bar, thicker plates, maybe even straps will diminish the potential advantage that you gain. I would say to only make one change of those three, and you're probably going to be fine. I also feel like you have experience running a good peaking strategy for yourself, that you can count on your deadlift numbers being very similar if you're training on a good bar with non-competition plates, but you shouldn't expect them to be higher than what they were in training, accounted for the added effort of the full competition spec equipment. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.